Good evening, Flexies. Welcome to Flex the Truth podcast. I'm your host, your moderator, Chris Eryx, if this is your first time. Guys, hope you had a blessed day. It was on my heart today to really do a special podcast. Uh, Everything that's going on in the world, we all know. But there's one particular reason why 4 years ago I became an adult. That was because of the children. And I'm a child at heart. And tonight I want to share something not only from my heart that the Lord literally, when I was in the gym, was talking to me like, now's the time. Now's the time. So tonight is going to be a very sensitive topic for me. And going into this weekend, I'm blessed and honored. I'm going to be emceeing as well as speaking at the Hour event in Hughesville. And I'll talk a little bit more about that and give you some information on that. That is Saturday. And it's going to be an unbelievable event. And we're going to end the night with the movie Sound of Freedom. So it's going to be a very, very powerful, emotional weekend, to say the least, for me and for others. But, I've been having a lot of guests, and I thought that was a way, raise up people. And I got away from digging and doing some information, and that's what I've been known for. That's what really got me started as an anon was, digging information. And so I want to get back to those roots. But I also want to have this conversation with you tonight because I think that it needs to happen. You see, we're so oblivious to things that are right in front of our face where we just sit there and we go, oh, it's this, or, it's that. When I've had conversations in the last couple of years with people, I've really startled their souls. I really have. Talking about, pastors that are not pure at heart. One of the biggest conversations where people have really just looked at me with the grossest faces is when I talk about Walt Disney. See, we grew up with Walt Disney. Our children have grown up with Walt Disney. Our children's going to grow up with Walt Disney, right? But what I want to show you tonight is I really want to show you what Walt Disney is about. And after tonight, you can never say, I didn't know. See, before tonight, you might have not known, and that's okay. But I'm going to open your eyes, and I'm going to open up your soul. And after tonight's program, if you could sit there with yourself and be okay with it, then good for you. But I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to change their minds, that are going to change their hearts, and probably will ban Walt Disney forever. Probably will never let their children ever watch Walt Disney ever again. Now, at a young age, 1, 2, they don't know what they're watching. But as you get older, 4, 5, it's told, and I've said this, and people have laughed at me, but the Jesuits said it the best. They said, if you can get a child before 7 years old, you'll have them for life. Isn't that the Christian faith as well? See, the Luciferians believe that as well. The younger you get them, and the younger you get to implant things in their mind, in their soul, brainwash them, program them. Because after 7 years old, do you know that you just run auto? Yeah, You just run auto from what you've been taught from 0 to 7. So a couple of things I want to talk about tonight is I want to talk to you about August. August is right around the bend. I really seriously think that August is going to be the month that they take out the grid. I believe that's what's going to happen. You got Pennsylvania, you have Georgia now, you have Wisconsin now doing audits. You got Arizona. Arizona, we already know. We know the outcome of that. In New Hampshire. See, Biden already showed his hand. How? Well, listen to him. He said Russia is going to do a cyber attack. He's already telling us what they're going to do. It's going to be all communication out. Already, all the Twitter accounts are taken down in all the states that are running the audits. And, you know, when you think about it, we're in red 2. And red 2, if you recall, when 17 talked about it, and when I talked about it, means all communication in the United States continental is gone. How long? Don't know. Now, I'm not telling you that to put fear in you. I'm telling you that to be aware. Make sure you have 2-3 weeks of food. Make sure you have 2 to 3 weeks of water. How about this? Is your neighbor listening to me? Is your neighbor listening to somebody like me, making them aware of what might happen? Probably not. What if you had enough water and food for your neighbor? See, I have enough water and food for my next door neighbor because he has a little one. And he doesn't watch my podcast, and that's okay. And he really doesn't know what's really going on. But that doesn't mean that he should be without water or food with a little one. Do you have the elderly? Do you have senior citizens around you? I'm sure they're not watching my podcast, although I had a woman call me up yesterday. Made my day, you know. But I'm starting to get senior citizens watching my podcast now. Thank you. Make sure that they're okay. Isn't that what Jesus would want? Love thy neighbor, right? Love thy neighbor is not just loving them. Love thy neighbor is taking care of them and making sure that they're okay. In central China, millions of villages, abandoned homes, 3 dams collapsed for about 5 hours ago. In the last 48 hours, 3 of them collapsed. Probably the biggest for me, because I go to Mexico every single year. If you know me, I go to Mexico every year. This blew my mind. See, last year I was in Mexico. That's right. Pandemic, scandemic, whatever. I was in Mexico. And I had a good time. Although they shut the gyms down, and I was pretty pissed off about that. And they shut down a pool that was like a Las Vegas style. And I was pissed off about that. But other than that, I had a good time. Well, bye-bye Cancun, you're going to go bankrupt now. Why? Because now the governor or mayor, whatever, the president, whatever, Cancun, says that every single person in Cancun, Mexico, tourist, will not be able to enter a bar, a nightclub, a restaurant, or a resort without proof of vaccination or proof of the test being negative. I'm sorry. Are you stupid? See, but they're not stupid. This is part of the agenda. This is part of the reset. Why would Cancun, Mexico, just say to yourself, why would Cancun, Mexico, that is probably 85, 90% tourism from the United States and Canada, why would they do this? This would cripple them. Aha. That's what they want. That's what they want. So I will not be going to Mexico this year. Who knows where I'll be going? With that said, I want to show you a video and then I want to talk to you. And, I was not sexually molested in my life. However, I was bullied. I was bullied by my father, and I was bullied by kids in school, every single kid in school, pretty much. Growing up, it took my childhood away from me. I learned how to become a boxer so I could protect myself against my father. I left my home at a very early age. I was forced to leave. I got in a physical fight with my father where I beat the living conniptions out of it because I had all that rage from all these years. I was forced to go to a friend's house and live with them. And then I came back. And then when my parents moved into their new home, my dad was pounding his chest because this is the second home that, he's purchased, and, he's this great guy. Nobody in the family has done it. My mom, she was pounding her chest with pride because that was her aunt's house and she loved it. And it was an upgrade from the house that we lived on. I slit my wrist. Yeah, I slit my wrist. Now, why did I slice my wrist? Because I didn't want to live anymore. I didn't want to live in pain anymore. The abuse, the mental abuse. People talk about physical abuse. Mental abuse is the worst. Emotional mental abuse to a child is absolutely by far the worst than you striking a child. I'm telling you that because I'm a product of that. I grew up hearing I'm going to be a nothing my whole entire life. I grew up with my dad chasing me, coming home from work, chasing me. I would hide in the cellar, sometimes for a day or 2 days, closet, at a young age. I remember when they would say, "Oh, Freddie's home," I would literally take off because I knew he was going to come after me. The emotional and mental abuse that I received from my father. And then one day he told me he loved me. And then 3 days later, he's beating the crap out of me, telling me I'm a nothing. And finally, when I got old enough, I started fighting back with my mouth. I remember running in the bathroom and telling him, "I'm not going to start my life until you're 16 feet underground." You know why 16 feet? Because the dogs can't smell you. Also, 32, my son betrayed me, girl that I was dating betrayed me, lied to me. We're going into business together. She was partnering up with somebody else. Same business. So went out with a pastor's son that night, drank. I'm not a big drinker. If you know me, I'm a social drinker. Flatlined, alcohol poisoning. Because subconsciously, I wanted to die. You know, people look at me now and they see this, but they don't know what I've been through. They don't know the pain that I've been through. If you're putting face diapers on your child, it is child abuse. I'm telling you that. You're doing irreparable damage to your child. Irreparable damage. That one day you're going to sit there and your child's going to have asthma, your child's going to have COPD, your child's going to not be able to breathe. You're like, what happened? And then it's going to click. And you're not going to be able to live with yourself. If you're that person, if you're that parent out there right now, I feel like I'm talking to a parent right now. You're not raising your child up. Start raising your child. See, your children are not your children. They're God's children. You're just renting them. You just have them for a short period of time to bring them up, and you should be bringing them up in a godly home. Everything they do should be involved with God. They should have God in the center of their heart, center of their life, so that they know how to grow up and love the right way, know how to have healthy relationships. I'm going to show you this video. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to have a little conversation about it. But I want to read something to you that when I was at the airport, I got this. And I'm going to keep the boy's name out of it, if that's okay. But he's 4 years old. He's from Massachusetts. He's being trafficked by his father. He started to disclose his abuse at 3 years of age. His mom tried to have the father's custody rights removed, but that failed. All systems have failed to protect or advocate for this little boy. All law enforcement, investigators, children and youth services, court liaisons, judges are all complicit, means they're all in on the tape with this. Now the father is trying to remove the mother's rights. Mom is very fearful for her life and her son's life. She does not trust anyone in law enforcement. She does not know where to turn for help and who she can trust. She has lost faith in God. She doesn't understand why God is allowing this. First of all, God is not allowing this. I can promise you. He's been asking his mom for help. He asked her to help make his dad stop abusing him. He has not normalized the abuse and is crying out for help. He talks about his dad taking him to the curtain house and films him dancing naked. It is doubtful that this is the only child at the curtain house. He has disclosed much more graphic details of abuse that I will not include in this email. The typical avenues used to rescue and protect a child have all failed. Anything you can do to bring freedom to this little boy would be appreciated. When you're ready to connect with the boy's mom, we can share that information upon her approval. This is what's going on. This is what's going on in the world, right underneath our noses. I was fortunate enough not to be sexually abused or trafficked, but I was emotionally and mentally abused. I know what it does to a child. I know what it does as he grows up as a teenager. I know what it does when he grows up as an adult man. So you say, okay, Chris, what's my part? How can I stop this? That's why I'm going to show you this video. And then I'll come back. We'll have a conversation. And I can't wait to hear people's opinions, thoughts, feelings. I know there's going to be a lot of people shocked. I know there's going to be a lot of people outraged, angry. I mean, this is going to be a feelings Ferris wheel. This is gonna hit so many feelings on so many levels. If you have a personal story and you want to share that with me, please go to flexthetruth.com, sign up. You can send an email to me. I only read them. I read every email. I respond to every email. I respond to every single text. And the reason I'm doing this tonight, I don't know if you remember when I had Madison Claire on, it's my biggest show ever. I think we're at 8,000 views. We're going to have them on again, and I'm going to be doing work with them. But I have to bring awareness to this, guys. I have to bring awareness. And it starts right at your home. So hold on for 1 second and let me get this ready for you.
top hats associated with magic. As kids, when we see top hats, we connect them to magic tricks. But as adults, we connect it with social status and wealth. Well, as I mentioned, top hats were often worn by the highest-ranking Freemasons who would often perform strange rituals. One famous occultist, Aleister Crowley, first coined the term for these twisted rituals as blood sex magic. It's rumored that little children would often be involved in these sick rituals. Aleister Crowley formed another cult called Ordo Templi Orientis, which would perform many strange blood and sex rituals. The cult had many famous members, one being the musician who wrote the song I Don't Like Mondays, Bob Geldof. His daughter later spoke out against the cult, alleging that they used children for their rituals. 6 months after she made those allegations, she was found dead in her apartment by an apparent overdose. The bad guy with the top hat is quite the popular trope in movies that touch upon the topic of child abduction. Professor Screw Eyes in We're Back, the Dinosaur Story, is a traveling circus master who tries to lure children into his show. The children have to sign a blood contract. He gets his powers from the fear of the little children.
Proceed to the contract.
Louis, I'm scared.
You are? Good.
Dr. Foslier, also known as the Shadow Man, is the main antagonist of Disney's 2009 feature film, The Princess and the Frog. He is an evil witch doctor who plans to rule New Orleans with the help from his friends on the other side. Anyone remember the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? That guy is total nightmare fuel for any child watching. The fandom wiki describes him as a black-clad, large-nosed man who is employed to hunt down children and take them away. He carries a large net like that used to catch butterflies, and a rather menacing-looking hook such as those used by old-fashioned abortionists. The child catcher occasionally catches his prey by luring them out with lollipops. What's even more unsettling is that this character did not exist in the original book. Disney's producers just thought it would be a good addition to the children's musical. I caught the same exact thing when I was working on a video about Disney's Return to Oz. The reason I made the video is because at the beginning of the movie, Dorothy is taken to a Victorian-style insane asylum by her auntie, where she forcefully undergoes electroshock therapy. She then dissociates from reality, like that of a victim of the original declassified MKUltra experiments done by the CIA, where patients were drugged with LSD or something similar, and tortured until the point that their minds were shattered, or fractured. This would put the victims in a very vulnerable state where you could either withdraw any information you want from them, or you can reprogram their mind with orders to carry out any number of agendas, including assassinations or so-called terrorist attacks. The weird thing is, none of this is in the original Return to Oz book, where the story was supposedly coming from. The whole movie ended up being dark, twisted, and it scared the ever-living shit out of children. These are just a couple of reasons why you can find this meme right here going around. Regular people that don't think critically see Disney as this magical world where dreams come true. And truth seekers like myself see Disney for what it is. It's magic, all right. It's black magic, witchcraft, and sorcery. That's just what Disney was made for. And after all, magic wands are carved from Hollywood.
Every day, our senses are being constantly bombarded by subliminal messages that are found in TV, movies, and advertisements. The subliminal messages we are subjected to are unrecognizable by the conscious mind and only recognizable in our subconscious mind. The messages and imagery are passively absorbed and then stored in our subconscious, where propagandists deliberately implant artificial thoughts, which in turn can affect our actions and attitudes later in life. Experiments have shown that less than 1 minute after the viewer begins to watch television, the brain switches from beta-level consciousness associated with active and logical thought, to alpha level, which is associated with passive acceptance and suggestibility. This is why advertisers spend billions of dollars a year on commercials.
The subconscious mind is responsible for the majority of our decisions. In fact, it is the subconscious that is in control of about 95% of our actions, while the conscious mind is in charge of merely 1 to 5%, depending on the individual. The behavioral responses of our subconscious are formed by the time we are 7 years old. That means that for the rest of our lives, our behavior runs on autopilot nearly all of the time, as informed by those early years of hardwiring. A study by Dr. Bruce Lipton, a developmental biologist, shows that while the subconscious mind operates at 40 million bits of data per second, the conscious mind works at only 40 bits per second, meaning the subconscious mind is 1,000,000 times more powerful than the conscious mind and is the main force which shapes how we live our lives. And just how is the subconscious mind programmed? It learns from the examples of others, such as parents, siblings, and the community we are born into. Thus, how we behave in our life is really programmed by others rather than ourselves. When we encounter stimuli, we react automatically with any number of familiar, hardwired behavioral programs. Historically, religions and religious groups like the Jesuits have used this knowledge to control the masses.
The Jesuits knew this 400 years ago. They would boast. Give me a child until it's 7, it will belong to the church for the rest of its life. Think about what that means.
And in modern times, this information is nothing new to major companies which exploit our subconscious for profit. And given new technologies, new psychological research, and new scientific understandings of the mind, they are able to do it with immense precision and depth, all while hiding their efforts, leaving the masses to believe we are independent, free thinkers. Let's take a look at one of the biggest multinational mass media companies to infiltrate our lives through the subconscious: Disney. Follow me down. Disney is well known for hiding subliminal sexual messages in their children's movies. Most times, parents don't realize this because they are not obvious, at least to the conscious mind. This is how Disney bypasses the parents and takes control of their children. The sexual subliminal messages reach the children through the subconscious mind during their first 7 formative years, and thus program sex into their brain as an automatic behavioral response. Remember, the subconscious mind is registering data 1,000,000 times more than the conscious mind. By corrupting a child's development, these programmers are able to create a false need in an individual that leaves the person searching for sex or sexiness to fill a void. The feel-good nature of Disney movies and the magical memories of childhood are forever linked with sex. The need to fill that void is then exploited for profit throughout an individual's life. Products are embedded with subliminal sexual messages or are sexual in nature. The subconscious picks up on the programming and equates purchasing the item with sexual fulfillment, which they subconsciously believe will fill a void in their life. Thus, the individual is stripped of his or her conscious abilities and instead becomes a consumer whose purchasing decisions are not his own, but instead the result of sexual impulse, which was programmed into them by the very corporations which in turn sell the merchandise. Disney programs the children, creating lifelong customers, similar to how the Jesuits created lifelong devotees to the church. There are over 40,000 Disney princess toys. Children under the age of 14 spend about $40 billion annually, and teens contribute about $159 billion per year. Thus, Disney is big business. When children get too old for animated Disney movies, Disney Channel television shows pick up the slack. The worship of Disney princesses turns to the worship of tween celebrities. As children grow with Disney, Disney's sexualization of its characters and plots become more overt. Not to the extent that parents stop their kids from watching it, but to the extent that it fills the child's sexualized programming, keeping them loyal customers. When adults appear as characters on these shows, they are often portrayed as the comic relief element, driving home the message that parents are laughable, a message which is reinforced with canned laughter.
I want to get my Opa on.
Honey, if your pants split anymore, everyone's gonna see your Opa.
This helps to break down the family structure in young teens' minds, making them think that they know better than the adults.
Did she get in your head?
Thus allowing Disney to take over the role of parenting. Disney celebrities like Miley Cyrus start out as innocent Hannah Montana-like characters which parents approve of. Kids copy the trends they see, dressing and acting like their favorite Disney characters. When the clean-cut Hannah Montana transforms into the sex idol Miley Cyrus, her fans do the same. Sexuality becomes synonymous with freedom, independence, and adulthood. It's at this point that parents try to draw a line, but it's too late. Their children have become Disney kids, years of programming firmly in place. The desire to be like Miley, or really to become a celebrity yourself, becomes an unattainable dream attempted to be achieved through materialism. Many people dream of becoming a celebrity because they imagine it would fulfill the void in their life which was created by the disintegration of the nuclear family and thus a lack of love during those most formative 7 years. When after buying the latest, sexiest product doesn't fulfill the desire, the void, the individual becomes depressed and feels low self-esteem. This low self-esteem begins the destructive cycle of commercial love, purchase after purchase in a futile attempt to feel happiness, love, and contentment. There is a societal discontent that corporations have created and then told us they could fix with materialism. As I've said many times during this video, 95% of our behavior is controlled by the subconscious.
Wow. Let me just stop this. Hold on. Wow. I mean, now you got to see what I saw. I know we have trolls on here, so I haven't had trolls since I can't even remember. So let them have fun. They got nothing better else to do, right? Just love on them. Obviously, they need to find God, right? But man, I'll tell you what, man, if you weren't touched by that, I don't know what to say to you. But I told you about my testimonial, and it starts somewhere, and it starts in the home. And you can protect your child, you can protect other children, but just what they're watching, by what they're listening to. What kind of music are your children listening to? Are they listening to rap? Do you know that they put curses on music? Um, especially rap music. I mean, because one of the biggest curses that they put on the rap music is that your child is going to rebel, that they're not going to listen to you. Think about that. Rock music, rock music, we joked around, we used to say it was the devil's music. Well, it truly is the devil's music. Alice Crowley and Church of Satan, you know, the biggest song ever, right? By the Eagles. Guess what? Church of Satan. That's what it's about. Yeah, Hotel California. Hotel California is about Church of Satan. So hopefully you got something out of this tonight. I want to just tell you about the event on Saturday. I think it's going to be very, very touching. We're going to be showing The Sound of Freedom, the child trafficking movie starring Jim Caviezel, who portrays Tim Ballard going in rescuing the children. It is in Hughesville, Pennsylvania. Hughesville, I'll spell it. Hughesville. Hughesville, Pennsylvania. 1 East Park, Park. Because I know people make fun of my accent. So, okay, 17737. You want to get tickets now. It's going to be a sold out event. You get to go down in the Underground Railroad if you'd like, take a tour. You'll get to see where children, have been trafficked through the years, especially slaves too. So you'll get to take that tour and see what it's like. You'll get to hang out with me. I'm going to MC the whole entire event. I will also be speaking as well, giving my testimonial. Matt Osborne, the vice president of the Underground Railroad program, will be speaking. I will be introducing him and bringing him up right before we show the Sound of Freedom movie. So guys, I just want to leave you with this. Number one, no matter what's going on in your life, just remember 2 things. One, you're worthy. And you don't have to mean the world to everybody. Just have to mean the world to God, which you already did. So you're worthy, number one. Number two, just remember you're a miracle. Just remember that, every single thing that you've gone through in your life, that you've been battle tested to now go ahead and perform whatever role that is in the spiritual war that we are in, because that's what we are in. And when somebody tears you down and rips you apart, just say, yeah, I'm a miracle. I'm a miracle. Remember. And then we're going to do a salvation prayer, because I know there's somebody out there, my hand's itching. There might be 1 or 2 people. Maybe you fell away from the Lord. Maybe you were saved and maybe life just got in the way or what have you. And you're ashamed and you're embarrassed and you're humiliated. That's okay. That's okay. We love you. See, and if you just say this prayer with me, guess what? You will now give your life back to the Lord. I met a person about 2 months ago that had fallen away from the Lord pretty bad. And they gave their life back to the Lord. And their life changed for the better. And And every day they keep becoming a better and better person. And it just started with giving their life to the Lord. That's how it started. And now they're on their way. They got their house, getting out of bad situation, taking care of their son, and they have freedom. It was all because they gave their life to the Lord. Now that person's going to be able to be free and do whatever they want in the world. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. So, if you're that person and you've fallen away from the Lord, just raise your hand. Just say this prayer out loud with me. Say, Lord, I've fallen away from you. I apologize. I didn't keep my eye on the prize with eternal salvation. I just let everything else get in the way. I know I'm a child of God. I know I'm heaven bound. I denounce Satan. I accept you as my Father, my Savior, my Lord, my God, my I am, my everything. Thank you. That's it. It's that simple. People always complicate things. No reason to complicate things. Here's something. The Lord is very, very simple. He is. You don't have to sit here and have this outrageous prayer, call him all these names. Talk to him. Talk to him as if he was right next to you. I talk to him in my car. I talk to him. I'm waiting for my luggage. I talk to him like he is with me. You know why? Because he is. He's in me. He's in you. Guys, remember, flex your mind, flex your muscles, flex the truth. The truth comes from your soul. And you see, we're all going to be dirt to dirt one day, right? We're all going to lose our looks and our body and everything because this is just a vessel, right? You gotta have your soul. You gotta speak the truth. You gotta know what the truth is. And the truth will set you free. So remember, flex your mind, flex your muscles, flex the truth. Then you are aligned with God. And then you can go out and you can do his work, his will, using his words. Guys, thanks for spending about an hour with me on a very special podcast. My name is Chris Eryx. I'm the host, Flex the Truth, aka Baby Trump. God bless you. Have a great night.